What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to Mahari Sports Nation for his video talking about the Philadelphia 76ers and, how you really just can't blame Brett Brown for the troubles of the team. It's funny, though, because apparently many of the Sixers threw Brett Brown under the bus, according to reports. Well, if you don't know this by now, this seemed inevitable, and now is the case. Brett Brown was fired today by the Philadelphia 76ers. They still owe him $10 million. He will be paid that, but he's no longer the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. And that's the right move, but that's not going to change the problems that the Sixers have. Now, of course, the Sixers were without Ben Simmons. That was a factor, okay? But this team still should have been more competitive with what they had. They still should have arguably won the series, or at least made this a hell of a contest. But they were swept. But what was interesting was, before they announced the firing of Brett Brown today, I read that President of Basketball Operations, former All-Star Elton Brand, or maybe him in the organization, maybe some other people were involved as well. But I'll just say this, the organization did exit interviews because they were planning on firing Brett Brown, but they did exit interviews with players, Joel Embiid, I think Josh Richardson, maybe some others, maybe, Tobias Harris, I guess, asked them, some issues they had with Brett Brown, and basically they questioned his leadership. They questioned the offensive schemes. Some guys said they didn't really know what their clear roles were with this team. And, it's funny because Joel Embiid just recently referred to Brett Brown as his friend. Where then you throw him on the bus, then again, look, accountability is one thing, and he's just not the right type of coach. I don't think that he has that. I think Brett Brown is one of those guys that is an easygoing guy. When maybe you need a guy that has the personality more like a drill sergeant at times, I guess. I don't know. This is why I've always said, when people say that, well, today's players, you need buddies. No, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work for the most part to have a coach that wants to be your buddy. It doesn't work. Look, at the end of the day, right? Yeah, Brett Brown is part of the problem. They need a coach that has more of a backbone. They need a coach that is going to be more demanding of his players than Brett Brown was. They need a guy that is going to be clear about what he wants his players to do out there and what he expects of them. But these players, and I do agree with Charles Barkley on this one, these guys do need to, I don't like to use the word grow up, but they need to take the game seriously. Look, at the end of the day, I don't like to really go to the tabloids or the headlines and talk about stuff outside the court. But look, if you read enough about Ben Simmons, you know that he seems a lot more interested in maybe making it rain at the clubs and chasing around Instagram models instead of working on his game. It does not make any damn sense that this is a guy who is in what is this, his fourth season? Would have been his fifth season had he not missed the first season. I can't remember exactly what season this is, but what is this, his third or fourth season? And you still haven't worked. I think this is fourth season because this is Ball's third season. Yes, I think this is This is his 4th season in the NBA. And you still haven't worked on your shot. You still refuse to shoot a fucking jump shot. In an era where it is more important than ever to have an outside shot. You are holding your team back. Even the bad shooters, even the Russell Westbrooks, even the freaking Draymond Greens. I can't curse anymore. Even the Draymond Greens, they are willing to shoot. So you have to respect it. This guy don't shoot. If he just would shoot, that would open up so many things for the Philadelphia 76ers offensively. And it would make him a more multi-dimensional and a more dangerous overall player. And with, Joel Embiid, very, very skilled basketball player. If he had the mentality of a Shaquille O'Neal or Akeem Olajuwon or the work ethic or hustle of a Moses Malone, this guy would be already, talked about amongst the top 10, 15 all-time centers. But, from all intents and purposes, from all what you could tell from Joel Embiid, Shaq even said the other day that he thought that Joel Embiid is a more talented overall player than he is. But the difference is that Joel Embiid often plays to his weaknesses too much, and instead of his strengths, and that he's not as committed to basketball as some other guys are. Now look, Shaq had some of the same problems where sometimes he wasn't in the absolute best physical condition, but that usually was toward the beginning of the season. And Shaq would work his way into playoffs, work his way into shape during the regular season. And by the playoffs, Shaq would be in top conditioning for the most part. Joel Embiid, during the regular seasons, the 3 months off, you come back, and you're still, instead of playing around 260, 265, 270, he's probably hovering around the 290, 295 area. And, while you still can put up big numbers, look, people got to look at something here. Joel Embiid was playing against the Boston Celtics. And you don't have Ben Simmons. I remember in the 86 playoffs, right, when the Rockets were playing against the 86 Celtics, right? And in that series, Ralph Sampson didn't show up. Olajuwon was destroying the Boston Celtics. And that was a front line that had Kevin McHale, Robbie Parrish, That was a Hall of Fame, they had Bill Walton as a sixth man. That was a Hall of Fame team. They had 5 Hall of Famers on that team. All right. And Olajuwon was destroying them. And if Olajuwon had any help, Houston could have won that series. Joel Embiid, you're going up against the 2020 Boston Celtics. And, look, you could have dominated this team. But, if he, like Charles Barkley said, man, if this guy was just more committed to being serious about being in shape and committed to basketball, Philly would be a better team. But the leadership core of this team needs to be more consistent, and they need to work on their strengths and be more serious. But to me, the one that's the most disappointing is Ben Simmons, because he is sensational in transition, but in the half court, he can be a liability, and he's also has not really shown much improvement in his overall game, and he depends too much on his athleticism. And to me, that's just the problem. If these two guys don't really make changes in their approaches to the game, then it's not going to matter who the coach is. It could be Phil Jackson. And at the end of the day, they're still going to be a disappointing team. So, hopefully Philly can make some changes. Hopefully they can find a good coach. But, I'm just not sold on Philly, man. Philly. The thing that really is the most jarring statistic I saw was the other day that during the regular season, Philly was something like 21. What was the number I saw? Was it 21-2 at home, but only, I can't remember the number. Was it 29-2 at home or some ridiculous number? It was the best record in the NBA. But on the road, they were 14-32. So, I mean, that's the type of record you would expect from a really, really young team. But these are guys that are now moving more toward what you would call veterans rather than newbies. And, it is what it is, man. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think.